We have discussed along this notion of living in the moment the idea that what you choose your state of being to be is of paramount importance. State of being is the most critical issue, which is why in The Secret it was mentioned that the secret to the secret was simply choosing to be happy. For no other reason other than that is your preferred state of being. Because there is no empirical physical reality, then state of being really becomes the only thing that determines the experience that you have in the idea of physical reality, because that's all it is. It's an experience, it's an idea. That is what is real about it, the experience. But physical reality itself is not real by itself on its own. As you choose the state of being that you prefer, or based on whatever beliefs you have within your physiological mind, personality, structure, as you choose beliefs that determine what your state of being will be, that, of course, is what determines how you experience this idea of yourself called physical reality. Because that's all it is. It's an experience of your own consciousness from a particular point of view, from a particular state of being that generates that kind of an effect within you, that you then call an externalized physical reality. Circumstances in physical reality, thus, are illusionary. They're just symbols. Again, as we have said many times, it's just a reflection based on what you are giving off. Now, The Secret calls this idea law of attraction the primary law. We refer to it as the third law of creation. It is, however, the first law of action, even within the four laws. Because the first law, that you exist, is simply a description of a state of being. The second law, that the one is all, the all are one, is also a description of the nature, of the structure of that state of being. But the third law, what you put out is what you get back, is the first law of action. And that is what is being said and the difference being made in The Secret by calling the law of attraction the first or primary law of the universe. Because it is the first law of action, and it's therefore the first law that actually brings about manifestational experience. Then the fourth law, everything changes except the first three laws, is what qualifies and colors that experience, what allows you different perspectives of the experience of creating the idea of physical reality. You will remember that what was also very important in The Secret was this idea that we talked about before about being passionate as expressed in the concept of play, of playing with everything that happens in your reality, really having an attitude of gratitude toward it so that you receive every experience you have in a playful way, and thus by receiving it in that playful way can do that much more with it, be that much more creative with it, allow it to be that much more flexible, malleable, stretchable, changeable, formable. Play. That energy is what allows physical reality to become like clay. So play with the clay of physical reality. If you approach it from an energy state of being, that is of a lower vibration, that's when the clay hardens. That's when it's unchanging in that state. But as soon as you start to be more playful with what's going on in your life, it softens and becomes clay-like, plastic, malleable, formable, changeable again, and gets in step with the fourth law, as you do. Change is the only constant. So in that sense, when you become more playful, you become more changeable. And as a result, your physical reality will mirror that changeability. Become easier to transform from one kind of reflection to another. Now, very important, very important, very important. This is where physical mind, once again, can sometimes get caught up in its own sense of control. And that is that when we talk about the idea that what you put out is what you get back, the physical mind, because, again, of how it looks at physical reality being the only thing there is, will assume that if it doesn't see an exact one-to-one reflection in the circumstances that surround you with what it is you believe you're giving off, you will think that something has failed. Again, I remind you, this is where you get caught in your own paradoxical trap. Even though it is true that what you put out is what you get back, and that by being in a certain state of being, that will determine what the circumstances around you are, the first stage of that, the first manifestation of that will be usually, especially in your world of space and time, usually the first reflection will look the same as it used to. Because this gives you an opportunity to reinforce the state of being by responding to the circumstances that look the same differently than you did before. And that is where you then allow the circumstances to truly reflect that you have changed and demonstrate that you truly have changed by responding to the circumstances differently, even if they look the same as they used to. That's how it works. So the first reflection will usually be an echo of how it used to look. You must not respond to the echo as if that's the representation of your new state. You must respond to it, in a sense, as if you know it's just an echo, and that what you're putting out now, the new response to the old circumstances, that will solidify the vibration of your preferred state of being and truly allow the circumstances to change themselves and take their cue from the new vibration you're putting out, which is the absolute certainty that you are different. Because if you respond to the old echo in the same way you used to, you are not different. So in a sense, it's like you're testing yourself. It's like you're giving yourself an opportunity to decide whether you really do want the circumstances to change by first presenting yourself very often with the same set of circumstances to see if you respond differently to them, making a clear commitment that you have, in fact, vibrationally changed your state of being. Once you have then done that and respond differently to the same set of circumstances, then you have established that you truly have changed, and then the circumstances can reflect that change. So don't be fooled by the echo into thinking you've done something wrong by labeling it in the same way you used to. Oh, I didn't see what I wanted to get immediately. It looks the same as it did before. The same people are here giving me the same kind of feedback. I must have done something wrong, or something's not working. Or you find that you're reacting to it in the same way you used to, because if you do, you have not changed. So that's the self-reinforcing mechanism that gives you the opportunity to decide whether you really want to change that circumstance or not. Because again, remember, all belief systems by definition are self-reinforcing. They have to be. If belief systems were not self-reinforcing and making themselves seem like the only thing there is to believe in, you wouldn't be able to have an actual distinct, discrete belief system experience. If beliefs did not come with a self-reinforcing mechanism, you wouldn't be able to have a discrete physical experience. And because they come with a self-reinforcing mechanism, when you change your vibrational state, one of the last things to fade will be the self-reinforcing mechanism. It will present the same scenario to you once again, but it will be presented not as a concrete reality, but only as an illusion, only as an echo of what was, to give you a chance to really decide that you will break through that self-reinforcing mechanism by defining and labeling it differently than you used to, proving that you have changed, thus allowing the reflection to then truly come. That's how that works. Use that mechanism to your advantage by understanding very clearly. And if you wish to use this almost as a mantra, you certainly may. Again, as we discussed last night, all of these things are nothing more than permission slips that, if you decide they work for you, if you decide they resonate according to your frequency, will simply allow you to permit yourself to change in the way you prefer to. The mantra doesn't do it for you. It simply is a reflection of the belief system within you that says this is what you will allow to give you permission, to give yourself permission to change in the way you wish to. So use this as a mantra if you wish, if it works for you, knowing that you're doing it if you need it at all. And that is, again, the idea, not even so much the statement that circumstances do not determine state of being. State of being determines circumstances. Now, you can use that. However, we would also suggest something even simpler and something even stronger. And that is simply, and the mantra is this: circumstances don't matter. Only state of being matters. And again, listen to the way that this synchronistically translates in your English language. Circumstances don't matter. They do not create materialization. Only state of being matters. Only state of being materializes experience. So, the mantra is, anytime you find yourself doubting, stuck, fearful, because of what you believe the situation is, what you believe the circumstances are, you can, if you wish, use this little reminder. Circumstances don't matter. Only state of being matters. And then choose the state of being you prefer. And then redefine the circumstances from that state of being, so that you can erase the echo and allow the true reflection to then take form from your state of being. Circumstances don't matter. Only state of being matters. Now, we apologize if what we are about to do with you, to some of your physical minds, may sound, a little cultish. It isn't meant this way. It's simply meant to express to you something very important. It's one thing very often to your physical minds when you hear someone else's voice say something. It's another when your own voice says it. So, repeat out loud after me. Circumstances don't matter.
Circumstances don't matter.
Only my state of being matters.
Only my state of being matters.
Now, do it with excitement in a calm way. Because what this begets is simple certainty. Repeat. Circumstances don't matter. Only my state of being matters. One more time. Circumstances don't matter. Only my state of being matters. One more time. Circumstances don't matter. Only my state of being matters. Understand. When you say this to yourself in your own vibrational voice, you will start to listen. Because what you're doing by making this statement is what we talked about earlier. You are voicing a message from the higher self in language the physical mind understands. This mantra and all mantras of this nature are exactly that kind of tool. It is a way of translating for the physical mind in terms it can understand a communication from the higher self. That's why they're powerful, if you agree that it's a permission slip that works for you. So, anytime you find yourself in doubt, in fear, confused about the circumstances going on, stop. Say to yourself, out loud, no matter how many people might think you're crazy. Yes, of course, yes, of course, yes, of course, you can say it inside your head if you wish to. But if you're really being bold, and if it's really important to you to have the reality you prefer, then make a commitment and say it out loud. You don't have to shout, you don't have to scream. But stop and say, circumstances don't matter. Only my state of being matters. What state of being do I prefer? Then choose. And as you choose, behave that way toward the circumstances. You will be amazed at how quickly it will evaporate. You will take people off guard. At the very least, they might say, oh, she's crazy, and move away. And then you won't have to deal with them anymore. So one way or another, it will create the bubble reality of your preferred vibration, and will act as an organizing principle and driving engine to move out of that bubble any vibration that is incompatible. It is one of the strongest, most centering statements you can make for yourself. Circumstances don't matter. Only my state of being matters. What state of being do I prefer? Then behave that way. That's all there is to that idea of centering. That's all there is to the idea of redefining, re-identifying yourself, and remaining on the cutting edge, the leading edge, the crest of the wave of the transformation. That's really all it takes. Now, to whatever degree your physical mind's belief system will allow you to believe that is your process to work on, if such a process is even needed. But I guarantee you, if you can truly, as you say, get into the absolute certainty of that statement, if you can truly understand that it is a true message from your higher self in physical mind terminology, and you truly pay attention to it, don't just get caught up in rote repetition until your voice becomes a droning thing you no longer hear. But when you truly say it in your own voice and truly listen to your own voice and pay attention to the vibration of your own voice saying it, you will hear the truth in it. And as soon as you really hear the truth in it, you will feel your entire physical being go, oh, I don't have to try so hard. It doesn't matter what the circumstances are. Only my state of being matters. Oh, joy. What is this feeling? What is this feeling? Oh my gosh, it's so foreign. Joy? Unbridled, unconditional love and joy. I'm tingling. You know, I like this sensation. I think I'll create more of it. Now, then. We love your paradoxical language. No wonder you're so confused. Now, then. Now or then? All right.
Okay, and this is kind of reiteration of another question, but still probably useful. This person is saying that they find themselves judging themselves whenever they're angry, judgmental, or get annoyed at someone, and they want to know how they can have an opinion of their self-expression without feeling bad. In terms of reflections, what is it saying about me when I am angry and annoyed at somebody?
It means you're angry and annoyed at yourself. Because again, you're projecting onto them what you feel to be true about yourself. So we would simply suggest more honest, deep self-investigation about what it is that you feel uncomfortable with within yourself. What are you out of alignment with within yourself? What are you angry with yourself about? And investigate that more deeply, more fully, and let it go.
So also, like from your standpoint, a lot of times people will think that you're going to lose patience with them or something. And as you've explained to us, you don't experience that because you're just in that vibrational state where that's not part of how you express yourself.
Yes, we don't not only have the idea of losing patience, we don't have patience. We don't need patience. You only need patience if you're waiting for something better to happen. Everything that's happening is the best thing that can probably be happening at that moment. It's the most important thing. So we're fully engaged in the present and therefore are not waiting for something else to happen. Therefore, we don't need patience. And if we don't need patience, then we never lose our patience because we never had it.
Okay, so that you see when you're reactive to something that it's probably, for a human being, it's probably means that there's issues of self-worth are coming up.
Yes.
And they don't know who they are anymore. They're confused by what has manifested.
Yes.
And the idea is to recognize that once you know what the higher vibrational state feels like, where you don't need patience in a sense, it can show you the direction to go in to regain that state.
Yes, but part of that direction is understanding why you were out of alignment to begin with. What belief you're holding on to, why you reacted the way you did. So that's part of the idea of the realignment, is understanding why you were misaligned.
Okay. And this person is saying that they've mostly used pain as a teacher to drive them towards growth. And how can they change that motivator into one that involves joy and, positive states instead of fear and negativity?
Right. Well, their ability to ask the question itself can propel them in that direction. Because if they really only understood how to motivate themselves through pain, and that was it, they would never even wonder if it was possible to motivate themselves through joy. But this is what following your passion is all about, is motivating yourself through joy. So the idea is, what are you getting out of motivating yourself from pain? Do you not truly believe and understand that by following your passion, you are motivating yourself through joy? Again, it comes down to following the formula and truly understanding it, understanding how it works. But if you really believe that you're not going to move forward unless you goad yourself with pain because you believe that that's necessary to get yourself to act, to get yourself to move, to get yourself to grow, then you'll keep using that because you want to keep motivating yourself. But you don't have to do it through pain. If you understand how the formula works, you will understand that when we say to act on your passion, that is synonymous with motivating yourself through joy.
And this question is, are there laws governing the spiritual world just like there are laws governing the material world? Or is there only one set of laws and that applies to both spiritual and material world?
The 5 laws apply everywhere, every when, to everyone, in every state.
Do you want to repeat the 5 laws?
Number 1, you exist. Number 2, the one is the all are the one. Number 3, you want to join me?
I wasn't prepared to do that because I've been looking at the other questions to know what to ask next, so I apologize.
You can do it. Number 3.
You can do it.
Let's start again. Number 1, you exist. Number 2.
The one is the all is the one.
Number 3.
What you put out is what you get back.
Is that the 3rd?
I don't. Sure. I take pity on me.
Oh, all right. We'll leave it at that and let the ones that know find out and remember what they are.
All right. I'm going to get much more rote in terms of my memory of certain things, so I appreciate that.
But again, it's not about memory. It's about knowing what you need to know when you need to know it, and understanding how things work and how things exist, what the structure of existence actually is. Now, yes, there is a person who had a question about the idea that when they hear about the 5 laws, for them, it is actually only 3 laws, and the rest are simply corollaries to that. And that is true. And that's why we originally talked about 4 laws and then turned it into 5 laws, because we realized that many humans on your planet need things broken down a little bit farther to understand the principles in more detail in order for them to have a clearer understanding of those things. But there really is only one law, and in a sense, it is that you exist. And if you understand all the corollaries of your existence, then the other so-called laws are natural extensions of that. So there really is only the idea that you exist. That is the law. The corollaries that extend from that can be experienced in different ways on the level you're in, but they still do apply to all different levels. But you exist. Existence itself applies to every level. You exist. You cannot cease to exist. There is no such thing as non-existence by definition. And everything that extends from that is an extrapolation of the fact that you exist, that everything is one thing. But it changes. It experiences itself in all the ways that it can. And that's why the 5th law is that everything changes. That's the only constant. Everything is always fluctuating, always changing, always reflecting different versions of itself to itself, always knowing itself in all the ways that it can. So what you put out is what you get back is simply a way of saying there's no difference, in a sense, on a fundamental level between you and anything else. There's nowhere for anything else to go. It can only go within you. You can only experience it within you. And that's why what you put out is what you get back is the linear expression of the fact that everything is happening within you and there's nowhere else for anything to go. There is no outside. The one is all, the all are one, again, is another recognition that everything is the same thing experiencing itself in all the possible ways that it can. So,
Okay. Okay, and then this question is, can you explain the difference between the dream state, template level reality, and physical reality?
the dream state is a broad expression that can include the concepts of experiencing out of body, experiencing astral travel. The template level reality is a specific vibrational state that represents as above, so below. In other words, what you have deemed as a theme you will experience in your physical reality dream is, in a sense, sketched out on the template level reality first. It is a specific vibration within the astral realm, just above physical reality, that then crystallizes down into the experience that you call physical reality. So you could say physical reality is a crystallized form of the template level in energy in non-physical reality that represents the blueprint or the themes that you have chosen to explore.
And when we're following our highest excitement, can you help us understand where rest, entertainment, diversions are necessary and how to know where to place them in our reality so that we don't get out of balance with it?
Well, again, if you actually are living in the vibration of your passion, the things that you need, including things like rest and entertainment, relaxation, would synchronistically be obvious to you as part of your passion, part of your excitement, when they are necessary for bodily replenishment and so on and so forth. In much the same way that you know when it's time to eat when you are hungry. So when you are truly living in your passion, there will be other kinds of senses that you will develop that will tell you, now it's time to rest. In the same way that you have a signal that now it's time to eat because you feel hungry. So the idea is to include all of those things in the vibration of your passion and let synchronicity organize them all in a way that allows you to hone your senses to be able to tell when certain things are necessary within your passion, within your excitement.
So also what you're saying, I guess, is that as long as the more precise you are in following the formula, the more accurate your interpretations of the signals you receive will be. For example, if a person is having issues with their weight, they might get constant signals that it's time to eat, but that's more of a reflection of being out of balance.
Yes.
But if you're following the formula more precisely and you are experiencing the higher vibrational state that comes with your passion, where everything falls into place, where everything is synchronistically aligned, then you will receive those messages in a balanced way.
Yes, because if you pay attention to people who are following their passion, just to use the example we have already suggested, you will recognize that sometimes people will hardly ever feel hungry. They will feel hungry when they need to. They will not feel excessively hungry because they are so focused on their passion that they're getting energy and getting support in another way. And then when they truly need sustenance to support their body, then and only then will they start to feel hungry. They will feel hungry no other time.
So if you look at the human beings you've been interacting with for a long time, and you see their progress in terms of utilizing the formula and becoming more and more precise at it, are there sort of like stages that people go through with it so that at some point you cross a line and you're actually so much more accurate than you might have been in the beginning when you were misinterpreting anxiety for passion, etc.?
Yes, of course there are stages. Stages of understanding, stages of, as you say, wrapping your mind around something, really making it real for you, really having a knowing of how it works. Again, it goes through stages in much the same way that you learn how to walk as a child. There are the stages where you're simply lying flat. There are the stages when you begin to move around and crawl. There are the stages when you finally balance yourself enough to walk. There's the stage when you finally learn to balance yourself enough to run. And then there are the stages when you finally achieve things that you consider to be certain forms of athletics, where you can leap and bound and do other things, somersault and so on and so forth. So yes, there are energetic stages like that in our observations of people and their understanding levels of the formula. We can tell when you're crawling, we can tell when you're walking, we can tell when you're running, we can tell when you're leaping.
How can you help us know where we are in terms of our progress on that, like what stage we're at?
We can only assist you by helping you to understand how to clarify your own self-investigations about why you believe what you believe and what's holding you back in your belief system. What it is that prevents you from having a clear understanding of the principles of the formula. So that's how we help you, by clearing out your attic of any beliefs that are holding you back from your pure understanding of the formula.
So basically, since we're manifesting all the time,
Yes.
It's all based on when you manifest something, how you react to it, how you respond to it, where you get confused, where you get clarity. And that's what really shows you what stage you're at in terms of working with these concepts.
Yes.
Great. And this is a person asking about the formula, so let me see if, okay, if someone hasn't been following their excitement for a while and then they start to follow it again in any given moment, what happens? And you said that the only way to miss an appointment that's meant for you is to worry about missing it.
Yes.
Can you expand on what happens if someone misses an appointment? Does it queue back up again and come back around for another opportunity?
Yes, it always does, if you're paying attention, if you're willing to understand that that is happening. You will always be given another opportunity. Now, that doesn't mean it's not possible to simply miss it for the entire lifetime. Because if you keep refusing the opportunities, if you go into a negative vibration that makes it almost impossible for you to see the opportunities because you're not on a vibratory level to perceive them, then yes, that can happen for an entire lifetime. And then when you are non-physical, when you go into spirit and look at your life review, you might go, oh, look at all the missed opportunities. Look at all the times I could have been willing to pay attention to the opportunities, but I just didn't. But you will still learn a lesson from that. So there is always another opportunity to learn the lesson, always another opportunity to choose something where you can apply the information and the knowledge of that lesson. Whether you are still physical or not is not the key. It's whether or not you simply arrive at a point ultimately where you're finally recognizing that there is an opportunity to learn the lesson and do something with it.
So when you reach the stage of the formula where you're expressing a higher level of precision, what are some of the kinds of things that can happen in that circumstance? And does that then indicate that when you're looking at scenarios outside of yourself, or apparently outside of yourself, that are negative, where it's war or all of these kinds of things, once you're in that higher vibrational state, does it mean that you are actually looking through the glass wall at these activities, and that you need to know that when you're in that higher vibrational state?
When you are in that vibrational state, you are operating on synchronism in the same way that we do. You see reality for what it is, your projection of consciousness. You explore everything with curiosity. Nothing makes you react in a negative way. You remain neutral and positive in your approach to everything. You act immediately and fully on every opportunity that represents your excitement and your passion. You are your true self, and you feel transparent to yourself and are willing to look at everything within yourself and accept everything that manifests in your life as an opportunity to experience more and more expansion and more knowledge. You start really becoming lucid in the physical reality dream.
Sounds wonderful.
It is.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Now, this person is telling a personal story that they have And I will give this information. She says that she was a prostitute 10 years ago.
Yes.
And she got caught by a lot of people, but she healed herself and she's a different person now. And she's tried to let go of her past, but people still remember who she was. So everyone who knows me has heard about it, is what she says. And meeting new people, even abroad, they seem to become discovering of her past. So she wants to understand, how can she be present and forgive herself, because it's now causing her to be afraid to start something new, because she feels like it'll just keep coming back and haunting her.
All right. Well, there's two ways to approach this. First of all, she herself may not be really letting go of that persona if she really truly wishes to. So she may be walking into new relationships in fear that she is going to bring that persona forward, or that someone is going to know about that persona. So she's holding on to the persona for some reason. She has to look at her belief systems about what she's getting out of doing that and really truly let it go if it really doesn't belong to her anymore. She has a different past if she's truly a different person. The idea that someone might point it out to her, might quote unquote remember who she was, is simply an opportunity for her to see if she's still reacting to it in the same old way, or saying, but that's not who I am. The second approach to this can be to remind people that everyone was a different person in the past, no matter what it is they expressed, no matter who it is they were being. So just as someone might point out to her that she was different in the past, then she can point out to them, but so were you. Who did you used to be in the past that you no longer are? Can we relate to each other as people in the present and let go of the past? Can we simply be here now? So that's the two approaches. She has to find out if she's holding on to that past persona for some reason that she believes serves her, or if she's just testing herself to see if she can let it go. And at the same time can remind others who pointed out to her that they themselves also have past selves that they may not be letting go of, or that they have let go of, and to simply
Hello, Bashar.
And you good day.
So my question is about how to balance my logical mind with my emotional mind.
Yeah.
Because I seem to
IQ with EQ.
I seem to get out of balance either.
You seem to?
Yeah.
Or do you choose to? Which way feels more self-empowered?
Choosing.
Because if you're choosing to be out of balance, at least you know you're in control of that and can change it. When you say, well, I seem to be, you're giving up your power to some random concept that doesn't allow you to know that there is any probability of really changing that. So the first step in changing it is to admit and take responsibility for having chosen it, because then you're in power to change it. Now, you may not know why you chose it. That's fine. But it will be in your unconscious mind somewhere a definition that made it seem logical to choose that. That's what we have described before as the motivational mechanism within all of you. This is a given law. You will always, always, always move in the direction of what you believe to be in your best interest. You will always immediately and automatically move away from what you believe is not in your best interest. So if you can see yourself choosing things that you know are not in your best interest, and you understand the motivational mechanism we've just described, that can only mean that you must be making what is in your best interest seem to not be, or what is not in your best interest seem to be. That's the only reason you would choose something that's not in your best interest, is you have a definitional belief attached to it that makes it seem to be better than the alternative. You understand? Because if people, for example, are afraid to move ahead on their excitement because they have a belief that something bad will happen to them, and they believe that not moving is a safer bet, they will stay where they are. They will keep choosing the safer bet because they have attached to their excitement a negative definition of the outcome. So you'll avoid it at all costs. When you realize that that may be the kind of definition you've attached to it, you will realize that doesn't make sense. It's illogical. And as soon as you realize there's no reason to attach a negative definition to your excitement, then that definition is gone. And you can start choosing things that you know are in your best interests. Because you will have cleared out the definitions that would make it seem otherwise. Is this making some sense?
It is making some sense.
Can you apply it to any specific definitions within you that would allow you to choose things you know are not necessarily in your best interest?
I guess I would have to become more conscious of all my choices.
I guess so. Well, let me ask you this question, because again, this is usually the one for your people that will typically, not always, but typically reveal what the definition is, the fear-based definition is. And the question is, if you were to actually move forward on your passion in life, what are you afraid might happen? What are all the reasons you create for yourself to not move in the direction of your preference, of your excitement, of your passion?
Running out of money.
Running out of money. Oh, all right. Are you saying that that's not an exciting thing? It could be. It could be the best thing that ever happened to you. How do you know?
That's a good point.
Thank you.
It could be.
You see, this goes back to what we say about your definitions, because we understand how things work on your world in general. But the idea is that many of you become way too focused on one particular way in which things work when there are other ways. And you're not allowing your definition to be broad enough to include the other ways. When you focus only on one symbol of abundance, such as money, not invalidating it, not discounting it at all, but it's only one symbol. There are other symbols of abundance, other symbols of support. But when you only focus on one as if that's the most important one, you are closing the doors through which other forms of support and abundance could come. Because you're saying you won't recognize them. If it's not this, I can't be supported. I don't understand how I could possibly be supported if it doesn't come in this form. That's a very limiting and restrictive belief system. But when you understand that abundance is simply one of the natural tools of excitement, and it will bring you whatever form of abundance and support you need to continue to act on your excitement, then you can relax your definition and open all the windows and doors and let abundance come in all its forms. Sometimes somebody may just give you something. That's a form of abundance, you know. Yes?
Yes.
Sometimes synchronicity will bring you information that you need at exactly the right time. That's a form of abundance, you know.
Yes.
So why not let more forms of abundance come into your life rather than worrying that you might lose one particular form?
That sounds like a good idea.
Why, thank you. The idea is that if money needs to be there, then the right amount of money will come, but it may not be sufficient to allow for the big picture, but the rest of the other forms of abundance will fill the other spaces. So that sometimes it may be, well, you just need this much money, and you need this much gift, and you need this much synchronicity, and all together, you've got your support. If it needs to be all money, that's what will come, because that will be the path of least resistance. But your first clue that it might not be the path of least resistance is it's not coming. That's your moment to look around and go, could there be other forms of abundance that I could allow in? That's where your imagination opens up. Because when you're on the level of the vibration of your passion, you will actually be capable of thinking, of imagining other things that might bring other forms of abundance in. But if you're only focused on one form, you are actually not only closing the door to other forms of abundance, you're closing the doors in your imagination to being even capable of imagining how other forms of abundance could come to you. So you will not even conceive of opportunities you could be acting on that could give you everything you need, because you will not allow them to be visible, because you're not in the correct frequency. Mm-hmm. You cannot perceive what you're not the vibration of first. This is just physics. Mm-hmm. You have to be that frequency first. And when you are, all sorts of things that are commensurate with that frequency will come to you. You'll think of things. Other people might call the things you imagine crazy, but that doesn't mean they won't work for you. They don't have to work for them. They just need to work for you. Mm-hmm. Is this making some sense?
Definitely.
Is this helping?
A lot.
All right. Anything else?
So do you think it would be wise to just follow my highest excitement and not be concerned with societal expectations?
Let me think about that for a moment. Please understand this. The philosophies you think are what you're hearing are not philosophies. We're actually giving you, literally, an instruction manual for how reality works. We're literally giving you formulas. You follow?
Yes.
It is no different when we say, act on your highest passion every moment that you can, to the best of your ability, taking it as far as you can until you can take it no further, with zero insistence or assumption as to what the outcome ought to be. That is literally an energy formula. It is physics. It's an instruction manual. It will activate everything you need. It will leave nothing out. It will give you all the tools in the kit of excitement, because it's a complete kit, and nothing relevant will be left out. And all you have to do is remain in a positive state no matter what happens, and you will get the beneficial effect. This is an instruction manual, absolutely no different at all than if someone gave you an instruction manual to operate a piece of machinery, to learn how to drive one of your automobiles. You would say, the instructions say, find the key. Oh, this must be the key. There's a picture of it. Yes, looks just like it. Put it in the slot called the ignition. Oh, all right. Put it in. Turn it this way. Turn it this way. The engine will start. Yes, I hear it started. Now, step on the brake. Step on the brake. That's that one according to the instruction manual. Put the car in gear. Okay, that must mean this thing here. And now step on the gas. The car should move. Oh, yes, it's doing that. Why is it doing all of that? Because I followed the instruction manual. Simple as that. What we are giving you is literally a description of how reality works. It's literally an instruction manual. So if you actually do it as precisely as you can, like you would for any instruction manual, you will see that reality is already working. The instruction manual we're giving you doesn't mean it's not working. The instruction manual we're giving you is giving you an opportunity to experience that it already works in a positive way for you instead of a negative way. Because synchronicity is always working, but you can experience negative synchronicity or positive synchronicity. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, if you really understand that this is an instruction manual and you just follow the instructions just as you would with any machine, you will see it's that simple. It works. Mm-hmm. Does that help?
Yes.
Does that answer your question?
It does. Can I ask one more question?
That was a question. You want to ask another one?
One more.
Yes.
What if you follow the instruction manual and follow your highest excitement and you end up in a less than preferable state?
Thank you for bringing that up. You see, this, as you have just said it, is the absolute crux of the issue that all of you have difficulty with. When you say, if I follow my excitement, what if something less than exciting happens? What you have to realize is what you've just said is not a definition of excitement. It's a different definition. You follow me? To say, I am acting on my excitement, But something can happen that's not representative of my excitement is not a definition of your excitement. By definition, when you are in your excitement, nothing can happen that you don't find exciting, even if it's what you don't prefer. You find it exciting because you know that to stay in that state means you will extract the benefit from it. So to say something bad can happen when I'm acting in my excitement, when I'm in my state of excitement, is an oxymoron. It's a contradictory definition. It's not a definition of excitement. It's a definition of a completely different reality experience. The reality experience of, I think I'm acting in my excitement, but I find out I'm not. That's the definition you just gave me. It's not a definition of excitement. So that's why it's so important to be clear about your definitions. Your definitions have to be purely representative of the state that we're talking about, or they're not that state. Your definitions will be only commensurate with whatever state is reflective of the definition you're creating. And that's a different state and a different reality experience altogether. Mm-hmm. Yes?
Yes.
Is that making some sense?
Yes. I guess what happened is I followed my excitement, and then I
didn't get what you preferred.
didn't get what I preferred.
But why should you? That's what I'm saying. You see, when we talk again about acting on your passion, it has to be done for its own sake, not because of what you think is supposed to happen. Because, as I said, sometimes you will get things that objectively, neutrally, you may recognize are not things you prefer. But you have to know it's there for a positive reason if you're actually in a positive state. If you don't know it's there for a positive reason, you're not in a positive state.
I understand.
You have to know that no matter how it looks, no matter how it was created, no matter what anyone else's opinion is about it, you, by staying in a positive state, can only extract a positive and beneficial effect from that circumstance, from that manifestation. The bottom line is, it doesn't matter what happens. It only matters what you do with what happens. Mm-hmm. That's what matters. Matter. That's what matters. The circumstance doesn't create the material. The state of being does. Mm-hmm. Is this making sense?
Yes.
You want to go?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you!
I don't say let us continue with this transmission. Now, did you enjoy your refreshment break? Yes. All right. Let us continue this transmission in the following way. We will discuss, at the moment, a few different kinds of things. This is all lumped under the idea of our title, Today is Yesterday's Tomorrow. That meaning that all time is one, it is all here and now. And what we will speak about that regards the concept you call the future is, nevertheless, I remind you, actually existing in the present, and that there is no such thing as a prediction of the future. Once again, we say there is only the sensing of the energy that exists at the present time the prediction is made. That is what is being sensed, is the present energy. If that energy does not change in any significant way, then what has been sensed is representative of that which will unfold and manifest. If, however, the energy does change, which is sometimes changed by the prediction itself, then the energy may take a different course and something different will occur. This does not mean that any kinds of predictions are necessarily wrong if they do not come to pass. It may simply be that they were sensing an energy that has changed. since all predictions are of the present energy. The reason that this is so is because empirically, fundamentally, there really is no such thing as the future. Just as there really is no such thing as the past. Everything is simultaneously coexistent, and you cannot actually prove the existence of either the future or the past. But wait a minute, Bashar. We have evidence from the past. Do you now? And exactly where is that evidence? Oh, here in the present. That's correct. And that's the only place it exists, is in the present. And what you call the past is simply another dimension, a different frequency, a different wavelength of experience that exists right now alongside your own present. There may be a cross-connection of continuity being made to make it appear as if there is a linear connection from past to present to future, but that continuity connection, that continuity illusion, is being created from the present, always. So when you say, here is evidence of the past, what you are saying is, you have created a linkage, a bridge, a connection, to a simultaneously concurrent reality in such a linear space-time manner as to create the illusion of cause and effect, because it serves a purpose for you to experience the idea of the process of creation from a beginning to an ending. That's all you're doing. But there is no actual proof of the existence of the past, because there is no such thing. That is why it is also easy to cross-connect to other lives, because they all exist now. And thus then, if it truly was that they were in the past, or truly was that they were in the future, you would not be able to really make that linkage. There is only one moment. It is now. Everything happens in the now. Everything that appears to be a different moment is actually a different perspective of the same now. A different point of view, a different angle, a different picture, a different photograph. But it is all part and parcel of the same infinite now, in which everything exists and everything occurs. So, in terms of what we are about to say about things that may unfold, again, remember, we are reading the energy as it exists now. But it is always your world and always your choice to allow the momentum of many of these things to continue, to allow the inertia of many of these things to unfold, or to choose a different course and create a new reality experience that you can shift to. When we talk about the idea also of everything being now, the idea again is to remember, or we would like to reinforce the notion that you keep in mind that all changes are total changes, in the sense that you shift from one reality to another. You shift, in a sense, your point of view, because you already exist in all the realities that you're ever going to exist in. So it's not even a matter of actually changing from one reality to another. It's an issue more of closing your eyes, closing your focus in one reality, and opening them in another in which you already exist, or at least a version of you does. The idea of changing is never that you will change anyone else, never that you will change the world, not even in a sense that you'll actually change yourself. It is simply that you shift to a reality whose vibration is already reflective of the reality vibration you now prefer, and start looking with your consciousness through the eyes of the version of you that already exists in a reality reflective of what that version of you represents. So you've never changed anyone, never changed the world. The world that you used to look through the eyes of still exists, always will, and will always experience itself as it is. But you can experience a new earth, a new reality, depending upon your vibration. And that's why we say All you have to do to change the world is change yourself. Because you will never actually change the world. You will only change from one perspective to another. But that will appear and feel and be experienced as a new world. And all the individuals who have representations in that world, you will experience. Individuals who do not have representations in that world, you will not experience. It is as simple as that. For a while, you may continue to experience the idea of people who have representational vibrations that are not necessarily fully aligned with the world that you prefer. But that's also because you are not fully aligned yet with the world that you prefer. And so there will be, as you say, a potpourri, a mixed bag for a while, and you will still for a while be capable of experiencing people who do not necessarily vibrate in accord with you. But that's still for the purpose of giving you the option to reflect off of them what you are by seeing what you are not. For many of you still understand what you are in that way. But the more and more you understand who you are for its own sake, without necessarily needing to see a counter offer of what you are not, more and more of you who do not need that will no longer see that. You will simply find yourself one day interacting pretty much only with the individuals who are similar in nature, similar in vibration. And you may scratch your heads and wonder where all the other people went. But they will still be on the world that you no longer look through. And they will still be living their lives as they wish to, as they have chosen to. And it's as simple as that. And neither, in terms of validity, is more important or better or right or wrong than the other. They are all part and parcel of the infinite choices within all that is. Allow them to all be valid. Allow all to make the choices that they need to make. And by doing so, it will be that much easier for you to allow yourself to experience the reality that you prefer. Now, as we read the energy now, many things are changing, many things are shifting, and this is what we perceive at the moment. You have begun to experience the breakdown of some of your economic systems. You have begun to experience some shifting in your political worlds. This will continue. And again, as we have always said, the idea is not to change the old systems, but to have new systems in place, ready to go when the old systems fall apart. That will be part and parcel of taking action in the new world, in the new way. Creating that vibration that is representative of the reality you wish to take yourself to. So that when you shift, and in that shift, experience the old ideas falling away, falling apart, crumbling all around you, you will have the capacity to attract to yourself new systems, either invented by you or others that you will attract yourself to be able to facilitate the new ideas, the new perspectives, the new ways of doing things in the new reality you will have shifted to, which can then be implemented rapidly. Now, as it stands in this moment, what you are doing with your economic structure may carry you for about 5 of your years. Then there will be what you call another collapse. But at that time, in 5 years, there will be other systems that can rapidly replace what has then been washed away. So, do not fear. Never approach these things with fear, for that will determine what reality you experience. So obviously what we are perceiving and what we are sharing with you is part and parcel of the reality, of the vibration of your preferred reality, which does not mean there will not be change. Sometimes even very dramatic change. But remember, as we said, an event is not an event until you have responded to it. So the idea is not so much exactly what happens, but how you respond to it that makes it the event you will experience it to be. So respond well to all these things, and they will serve you well in the new reality. Respond negatively, and that's the reality you will remain in. So in 5 years, you will see, most likely, the opportunity to reinvent some very fundamental economic principles on your planet that will begin to take you, not right away, but will begin to take you toward an understanding of the true worth and the true value of the individual members of a society, which will ultimately lead to an economy actually based on the actual skills and talents of the individuals in a society, which will be in that context uncorruptible. The idea in that sense will be that as you approach the concept of a global organization, it will be one that allows borders and barriers to be crossed and to be dissolved, because it will be the skills and talents of individuals that will cross those borders to be of service to others who need their services. And as you begin finding more and more teams of individuals being sent around the world to aid and assist those that require their assistance, you will suddenly begin to see the threads being woven of the tapestry of a new economy. And bit by bit, within a few decades, you will realize that no longer will you require an artificial symbol to represent the idea of value and exchange. The exchange between people will be sufficient, and the reason that this will work is because it will also go hand in hand with the idea that within the next 2 or 3 decades, you will also create the idea of absolute, unlimited free energy. And once you achieve that, you will find that almost nothing stands in your way of becoming a unified society. Now, between now and then, there may be a few interesting surprises. Again, as we have talked about, more and more will be there an increase in the awareness of the existence of extraterrestrial societies, beginning on and around your year of 2015. There will be more knowledge that such things exist. And again, as it expands, ultimately to your year of 2033, when it will be, in that sense, open contact that will have occurred between your civilization and the first civilization to make open contact with your world, that we in our ancient language have called the Shalanaya, but which they in their own language are called the Yael. You will see more of their ships here and there, and they will become more and more blatant, allowing you the opportunity to respond in a manner that allows your society to know that you are ready more and more every day for such open communion, open contact with other civilizations. This, of course, will be based on the idea that you're ready and willing for open contact among your own civilization, among yourselves, among your own people. The willingness to take the actions necessary to receive the downloads and take the actions necessary to create more expansive systems, more expansive opportunities, more expansive services, more expansive inventions, more expansive awareness about the nature of the structure of existence, and apply that in your day-to-day reality. Politically, you will find, over the course of that same 3 decades, many new changes will come about. Somewhere after your year of 2025, but before your year of 2033, it is quite likely, as we read the energy now, that there will be formed for the first time what you call a North American Union, similar in some senses to what the European Union is attempting to do, but it will be slightly different. And more of these large conglomerate unions will begin to appear around your planet until such time as after 2033 they can be linked and unitized in large conglomerate sections which ultimately then, over time, will lead to a coordination and an organization that will be global in nature, but will be of service that benefits humanity. One moment. As has been said, opportunities for sightings will increase. More downloads will occur, that contact is imminent. The literalness of the sightings may or may not occur in your upcoming next couple of days, and also again in February of your new year. One moment. To allow for some of these transitions to take hold, take root, without our interference, we will once again go offline for the transition of your present to new year. Somewhere in and around your December 15th, and we will reconnect once again after your new year has begun. One moment. The channel and the original agreement that was made within the oversoul, of which he and I are aspects, was that there would be a delivery of information for no less than 9 of your orbits. We are now approaching a time in what you call 2 orbits that will represent 3 times the original agreed upon amount. Once it reaches its 27th year, it will then take a different form. For the next 3 years thereafter, until your year of 2013. We will not instruct at this time what this different form will be, but it will be by our calling alone in terms of how it shall occur. In the manner of the channeling as you understand it now, to no society to whom we have channeled does any channeling in one form last more than the length of an Sasanian lifetime. But because our dimension is 10 times faster than yours, our lifespan of 300 years translates into your reality as 30 years. So when the 30th year occurs in 2013, there will be a transition of how this information is delivered. There will be a transition, as we said, in the 27th year. There will be a difference in the last 3 years until the 30th year, and after that there will be a complete transformation of how this information is delivered. But it will go hand in hand and be part and parcel with many of the changes that are upcoming, and will represent many of the new systems that are required for implementation in terms of the educational systems on your world. And it will dovetail, as you say, into some of those educational systems and lay the foundations for new interactive educational systems that shall be widespread in the years to come after 2013. One moment. We may now open up to a variety of questions and exchanges that are representative either of the idea of taking action on your joy, or that which is representative of any clarification of belief systems that you believe will aid and assist you in becoming more and more of who you are and acting on your dreams. You may begin this portion